not everything can be done through the alliance with the United States. So Japan needs more partners, and Australia is very much a prime example.
Why don't we just broaden our strategic scope from Asia-Pacific to broader Indo-Pacific so that more countries can actually join?
Hello, and welcome to a special talk event on international affairs. Our topic today is Japan and Australia and the role they play in a free and open Indo-Pacific. I'm Jonathan Soble, former Tokyo bureau chief at the Financial Times, currently a partner at Kreab Japan, a strategic communications company here in Tokyo. My special co-host today is Professor Tsuruoka Michito. He's from Keio University. He's an expert in international relations, international security, and the relationship between Japan and Europe. He's also spent a year not too long ago at Australian National University. Am I right?
Yes.
Thanks very much for being my co-host today, and I'm looking forward to our discussion. Our special guest is Satake Tomohiko. He's an associate professor at Aoyama Gakuin University, also here in Tokyo, and a specialist in Japan-Australia relations. Welcome.
My pleasure.
Now, you received your PhD in Australia from ANU. I understand you've also been a fellow at the National Institute for Defense Studies there. Before we dive into the questions, can you characterize your research for us a little bit?
Sure. So I started my PhD at the Australian National University, ANU, in March 2006. And that was exactly a time when the trilateral strategic dialogue between Japan, US, and Australia was launched. And it was actually related to the ministerial. It was a kind of foreign ministerial meeting between three countries. And then next year, Japan and Australia announced the so-called Joint Declaration for Security Cooperation, which became the foundation for their strategic partnership. So naturally, as a Japanese student who studied in Australia, I became interested in this strategic partnership. And I was especially curious why this strategic partnership evolved despite their kind of different geographic circumstances. Japan faces so many threats and challenges from the surrounding countries like China, North Korea, and Russia, whereas Australia enjoys a relatively more kind of a benign security environment. Australia's distance from Northeast Asia, and people call it a kind of lucky country with rich resources, huge territory, and vast oceans and so on. And Australia had a good relation with China until quite recently. Yes. At least when I was in Canberra, they had a very good relationship. But nevertheless, it was Australia rather than Japan who pushed this strategic partnership. And I actually, became curious why, and thought it's very interesting. And then, I started my job in NITS in 2010. But even at that time, I felt that few people actually, interested in this strategic partnership, and many Japanese focus on Japan-US alliance, whereas not so much about Japan's strategic partnership with other countries. So I really wanted to, just focus on this, topic.
I think for a lot of viewers, maybe who aren't specialists in Japan-Australia relations, they will be wondering why these two countries. Why are we talking about it? But it is an evolving relationship and an increasingly important one, right?
Yes, very much so, yes. And Dr. Satake actually is a former colleague of mine at NITS. And despite the fact that Australia's importance for Japan as a strategic partner, security partner, has increased, but there aren't so many people who are really working on Japan-Australia security and defense ties. And Dr. Satake is one of the very few experts. And also what is good about Dr. Satake's research is that, so he's been at National Institute for Defense Studies. He used to be 10 years or so. And then, so he got a Japanese perspective and Japanese foreign security policy perspectives. Yesterday, he studied in Australia, so he knows a lot about Australian perspectives, but this combination of Japanese and Australian perspectives, that I think is really important.
Right.